and welcome to my kitchen. And it is Saturday, June 2nd, and I've just been going through a few things. It is afternoon time, and we've been out running around and all this, but I wanted to make this yesterday, and I never got around to it. One of my Facebook friends posted this, and I thought it was really, really pertinent, so I wanted to share it with you. And I'm going to read you her post, and it's actually a friend of a Facebook friend, but it really resonated with me, and I'm going to put the link to the actual blog post about this incident, and then I have another one that I want to share with you as well. So this particular article is about, it's about food freedom. Let's call it food freedom. We talk all the time about being able to grow our own food, about being able to obtain our own food, and maybe if we grow our own gardens or our own meat birds or meat rabbits, the ability to share them with our neighbors and what have you. Well, I'm going to read this to you because this is actually editorial based on what took place. This is someone who lives in the area where it took place in Portland, Oregon, and this is her take on it. It really resonated with me, like I said. It's her personal opinion, and I can't say that I disagree with her. I mean, I wholeheartedly say that I absolutely agree with her, and I think that we should all be appalled that this was even allowed to happen. So, here it goes. This is the post. It says, back in January, a meat rabbit breeder in Portland, Oregon was scheduled to give a class on humanely butchering and dressing rabbits for freezer camp. He's a member of PMC, the Portland Meat Collective, a group of livestock growers giving lots of classes like this to get the local folks more involved in eating locally and raising their own meat to be more self-sufficient. His name was advertised as being the person who was going to run the class. He goes out early Saturday morning before the class to take care of his breeding stock for the morning, enters the barn, and finds all of his adult rabbits are gone. Someone stole them during the night and left 9 pinkies, which are babies, just hours/days old, in a nest box with no mother to feed them. Whoever stole the rabbits apparently had it in their head that with no rabbits, he couldn't run the class. The thief was wrong. The rabbits set aside for the class were already at the class location. What the thief stole was his breeding stock. Turns out, a local All Rabbits Are Pets Save the Rabbits group had his buns. They claimed the bunnies were anonymously dropped off at their doorstep. The group immediately turned around and adopted the rabbits out. He tried to get the rabbits back, and some of the new owners of known stolen property refused, saying they'd already become attached to the rabbits and wouldn't let them go back to a meat rabbit farm to be butchered. The police and the man's lawyer got involved. One lady held out, demanding joint custody and visitation rights of the stolen rabbits she had adopted. Finally, the lawyer and police convinced her that holding on to known stolen property would not be in her best interest, so she gave it back. So the PMC happily reports on its website that the last rabbit, just so happens his name was Roger, had been returned, and Roger the rabbit was happily back in his own cage near his harem. The comments from people on the website posts are some of the most vicious, nasty things you'll ever read. Go skim over the article and then take your time reading the comments. My point in posting this is that it isn't just the local, state, and federal governments joining in this Farmageddon that's going on. It's also the local people, and she puts in parents the S word. When you are trying to make yourself more self-sufficient, grow your own food, there are some people who are so zombified into the system that all meat comes from saran-wrapped packages at the store, and you must buy it there and pay taxes on it and accept whatever hormones, antibiotics, and nasty filler that's been pumped into it, that they will do whatever they can to stop you from breaking that dependence cycle. How dare you get off the crazy merry-go-round? You mean evil, vile person. How dare you kill something to eat? Don't you know you can just go to the store and buy meat? How dare you grow your own vegetables? Your tomato plants in your front yard bring down my property value and break the homeowners association code. And she goes on to say, just go read those comments and keep things like this in mind. If you raise your own food or are considering it, keeping it quiet might be the best thing to do even if you don't think the S is going to hit the fan. Well, I am not one to keep my mouth shut, and that's probably what gets me into a lot of trouble. It also has, that's my modus operandi throughout my life. I've never known when to keep my mouth shut. And frankly, I love the bumper sticker that says, well-behaved women seldom make history. And I truly believe that. This is a woman who lives in the area who made this post on Facebook, and she has the conviction and the deep feeling that this is important enough to let people know about it. Well, here's this website, and here's some of the comments are just horrific. See, you people are repulsive ghouls. Name calling, this is where we're going. We've bred a generation where everything is quick and easy, it's clean and neat, it's disposable. Everything in this world is disposable now. There's nothing that has any staying power. Everything that we buy in the store comes in a cheap package. Pardon me. It has absolutely no intrinsic value, essentially. It has no staying power. It will never be an antique. The things that we produce today in 100 years will not be looked upon like the things made 100 years ago that we seek out in antique stores or at yard sales or tag sales or flea markets. The stuff we have today is not going to be sought out after. We live in a generation, it's like when things come to an end, nothing is worth anything. And very frankly, I think that some people don't put much value on human life either. You know how I feel. You know how I feel about being able to produce your own food. And many of us have seen Food Incorporated. Many of us have watched the documentary Farmageddon. We're very concerned about what goes into our food, to the point where many of us are trying to do everything we possibly can to produce our own food. And then we've got these people who will throw paint on you and say you're killing animals, and then go eat a Big Mac. So or they're wearing leather shoes. They give absolutely no thought to that. But yeah, that one kind of got my panties in a bunch, so I wanted to share it with you. I will put the link to this blog, and it's the pdxmeat.com blog, and it talks that this happened back in January. However, I think that it's something that should concern all of us, because on a local level, if somebody gets their bonnet in a snit over something you're doing, there's nothing stopping them from going to the local authorities or taking it upon themselves. Anybody could walk in my backyard if I wasn't home, because I keep my dogs in the house, and destroy my garden. Anybody could do that. It would devastate me if they did that. And there would be absolutely nothing I could do about it if they did. Because if they just did it and I wasn't home, I would have no idea who did it. So, in any case, I wanted to share that with you. And also, if you will remember, back in, I think it was February, March, maybe early March, here in North Carolina, we had a pre-K class where the little girl had her home lunch taken away from her and said that it wasn't nutritionally, it didn't meet the nutritional guidelines, and was taken to the cafeteria and given a platter full of chicken nuggets. Well, I'm going to read you this all the way through because it's just 3 paragraphs. It says, in an act of sanity, North Carolina's, the article is at the Civitas Review online. I will put a link below. The article is entitled, Get Your Hands Off My Lunch Meat. In an act of sanity, North Carolina's Senate unanimously passed legislation prohibiting child care facilities from providing supplemental food and beverage items to children whose parents packed a lunch for them. This action stemmed from the quote-unquote great chicken nugget fiasco of 2012 that occurred this past spring, in which a pre-kindergarten teacher told her class that their packed lunches from mom and dad did not meet federal regulations for a healthy meal. Hello, nanny state government. School officials said the teacher should have provided whatever healthy food was lacking in their lunches, but instead the kids were provided access to the cafeteria where there was a proliferation of chicken nuggets just waiting to be consumed. Since when did it become a school's job to search through kids' lunches, deem the meals healthy or unhealthy, and subsequently remove quote-unquote unhealthy food and provide a quote healthy alternative? Perhaps the food police force will have to be dispatched to schools across North Carolina to ensure the lunchroom regulations are being followed. Maybe the state should install junk food detectors at the entrance of each school. That won't be necessary, though, because House Bill 503, the Parental Choice and it's called the Parental Choice / Clarify Pre-K, resolve the matter by exempting parent-provided lunches from nutritional standards set forth by the school. Conceivably, parents could pack a lunch bag filled to the brim with junk food, even chicken nuggets, and send their offspring happily to school. While that may not be the healthiest nutrition option, everything in moderation, the point is that schools should not be in the business of dictating what kids can or cannot eat. More importantly, a government-run school should not supplant the parents' prerogative to decide what food will be packed for their children to consume. Fundamentally, this is a parental right issue. Thankfully, the Senate did the right thing for parents and children across the state. So I wanted to just share that little update with you. I get regular emails from the Civitas Review, and this is a North Carolina-based organization. But this one I had to laugh, I had to chuckle a little, and I had to think, wow, it bothered them so much. This created such a brouhaha, and and it kind of went out of control, which I think in this particular instance it needed to, because nobody's going to tell me what I can feed my kid. So anyway, I wanted to share those things with you. I will put links below. I hope you go and check them out. And until next time,